Paul, are you there? We'll give people a couple more minutes to join us too. They're still coming in.
Just as I get ready to pop in, they start mowing the lawn. Isn't that lovely?
Well, it looks like everyone's joined, or well, there's no one left in the waiting room. So whenever you're ready.
So if you hear a lawnmower, I apologize. I asked them to go to that side of the house. I apologize in advance. Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Presser. I'm the head of school. If I don't know you yet, I will get to know you soon, I'm sure. Welcome to our new and returning families. Welcome to our staff, our new staff, faculty, our board members here in attendance tonight. We are looking forward to another successful school year, and I'm here tonight to give you some brief updates. Encourage you to read your email. There's a lot of information being sent out today and then over the next few days before school starts. If you have any questions that I don't get to during these brief updates, go ahead and put those in the chat box down at the bottom, and Tanya will feed those to me at the end, and I'll do my best to answer what I know. Let's see. Yeah, school starts Monday, August 23rd, 8:30 a.m. That's usually the first question. When does school start? That's when it starts. We have some hiring updates for you as well. You're likely aware by now, but I'd like to reintroduce some of our new hires. I don't know if they're here tonight or not, but Miss Rachel Willenborg is our new first grade teacher. Oh, there she is. There she is right there, my left-hand corner. It's like super password. Miss Shelby Paradise is our new fourth grade teacher. I think I saw Shelby, and there she is right there in her car, which is interesting. Mr. Jacob Brandenburg, I don't know if he is here, but Mr. Jacob will be our new music teacher. Music makes a return to Summit this year, which is exciting. In addition to these hires, we'd like to welcome Mr. Ken Scheinblum as in our school accounting position. We've made a change in that office recently. So if you see that name, yes, he is affiliated with Summit, and he will be collecting tuition. Let's see, who else we got? We have Mr. Stan Hughes. Mr. Stan Hughes will work as a development officer for us this school year. And we are in the process of finalizing our extended day team and hope to have all of these announcements made by the end of this week. So here we go, COVID, ready. I wish I could say that things have gotten better as it relates to COVID infection rates across the country, but this is simply not the case. With that said, I'm incredibly proud of the work that we did last school year, and we were able to keep students safe and in school for the majority of the school year. And as those policies and procedures proved to be effective, we plan to keep a high majority of those policies and procedures in place. We have made some modifications, and all of that is captured in our Return to Learn plan, which is on our website and is accessible all school year, and will continue to fine-tune as we get more information from the CDC and Linn County Public Health. A few of the policies I just wanted to highlight that will remain in place. We will strongly recommend that masks are worn within the school by all people, regardless of vaccination status. We will move our desks a little bit closer. This year, we're allowed to have desks at 3 feet apart, so we'll have 3-foot spacing in between students in the classroom. We will increase the classroom ventilation just like we did last year. We will lunch by class, not in a lunchroom setting, and we will use the outdoor spaces for lunches as much as possible, weather permitting. We will continue with the idea of virtual meetings in lieu of in-person meetings to begin the school year. We will modify our activities schedule. This year, we would like to have more activities, but we'd like to do activities outside, like the ice cream social, which is coming up next week. So we'll do that event outside instead of on the inside of the building. We will limit the access to the building for non-essential people. And we will continue with enhanced daily cleaning procedures as we did last year. I'm sure there's a ton of questions. That's just an overview, a broad overview of what we plan to do for COVID mitigation. Few dates to remember. Next week, we will have our early student assessments. They will start on Wednesday and run through Friday. You should have received an email from your classroom teacher for you to schedule said meeting with your student. Roughly a 45 to 60-minute roughly time frame for your student to come in to get to meet the teacher, get to see the building, and then we'll do some more formal assessment during that time. If you've not received that email, go ahead and reach out to your teacher. Our ice cream social will be held Thursday of next week, the 19th at 4:30, weather permitting. If the weather is to change, we'll let you know ahead of time if we're able to hold that event, but it will be an outdoor event exclusively. And again, our first day of school will be August 23rd at 8:30 a.m. And I know that an email was delivered today. It explains more of our pickup and drop-off procedures, which we started last year. We thought was very effective. We're going to continue with the same process this year. Before we get to Q&A, I just want to say thank you in advance as we work through this year's COVID's protocol and procedures. Like I said, last year, it was very effective. We had a year to perfect it, and we want to continue with that good work going forward. And I want to thank you for your patience now with our billing, as because of the finance office changes. It's been a little slow getting out some of the ACH and the August billing. So be patient, it's coming. We will take your money. Once we have that, all the pieces in place, you'll start to see that the normal transactions take place. With that said, I'm going to take questions from Tanya if she has any for me. I'm going to also ask my daughter to leave the room. One second.
I don't have any questions yet, so now's your time to submit it in the chat. It's just a little easier to do it that way instead of people popping in at the same time. One thing to note too is if you're a middle school family and you're interested in activities, things are filling up at Isaac Newton Christian Academy. If you're interested in doing any sports with them, please contact them right away. They've invited us to participate in some of those after school activities, but you need to contact them directly. No questions?
Questions?
Oh. Okay, question about will last year's ITBS results be mailed to us?
Good question. We actually received the cumulative test results on August 1st. So that was 9 days ago. I don't know if we will be distributing those via mail. Kathleen, do you know if those go via mail or do they come from classroom teacher?
That is a good question. I will have to check on that. We will get them mailed. I will have to check with Shauna and see how that process, because it's a little bit different than how it's worked in the past. So.
Okay, the next question, will there be field trips this year?
Right now, the plan, and the teachers and I will talk about this. We start our work together this Thursday. We have about a week and a half of PD. My idea right now is that if we use public transportation and strongly recommend masking, and I think masking may actually be required on public transit, I'm more comfortable with that and a walking field trip in lieu of putting students in cars with parents. I just think there's too much risk there for me. So right now I'm encouraging walking field trips and use of public transit.
Next question, our daughter is starting kindergarten. Is there any childcare options for days Summit is closed?
No. We used to do the learning extension camps on those days and also try to run professional development, had trouble staffing it. It was usually open to the public. Very complicated, especially during COVID. So unfortunately, we cannot offer any daycare during those days because those are our professional development days for teachers.
For new families, will our kiddos be able to see their classroom and or meet their teacher before the first day of school?
Yes. So that will be what the assessment days are for. You'll have that hour time period, and you'll also be able to meet your teacher And some other staff, some new staff at that ice cream social event outside.
Another question, and I know this is a burning question for many families. Has the rock wall been completed?
It is in process. It's been delivered. We've had the engineer, we'll call him the engineer, come out and take a look at the structure and what we need in order to secure it. There's a couple pieces that we needed to be in place. We hope to have it up and ready by the ice cream social. At least you could see it maybe from the outside window. But yeah, we hope to do some sort of a ribbon cutting of some sort when it's safe to do so. But yes, it should be installed and ready to go by opening school day.
If the COVID situation gets worse, would there be an online option for students to attend?
The hardest part about this is I have not read any very clear and specific information from the Department of Education as we had last year, which if we had met certain metrics, both in the county of infection rate and absentee rate within the school, we could apply for a waiver to move the whole school to a virtual option. So far, I'm not sure if that will be an option, but in using the numbers that we used last year, I would apply if we met whatever the criteria was for a virtual only option. We do have the option if we do have illnesses or people in quarantine to offer a virtual option to your student while they're going through this, with our enhanced technologies in the classroom, our OWL system, we can effectively present a virtual, at least a portion of a school day to families at home, should they be needed.
Thank you. Will Yale be happening this year?
To be talked out. I think if we can do it, if we do it, like I said, via public transportation, if we were going to Co-College, if Co-College is allowing, Co-College was one example of this, yet another learning experience where students would go off campus and do something over a longer period of time. Rock climbing was one thing that they had done at Co-College. Will Co-College accept students from the outside? I don't know. If organizations were willing to receive our students for an event like that and we took public transportation, I think it's still an option.
Well,
there's a lot of things, I'm just going to say, there's a lot of things that we've learned, right, in this past year of, we didn't know a lot. We were running a school kind of blindly. We didn't know completely how COVID was transmissible, right? So we had to adjust on the fly. And as we learn more information, and there's always unknown variables, like with the Delta variant, we don't know. We're still learning. So it's hard to answer all these questions definitively when I'm not even sure what all the variables are.
Will Summit be providing face shields again?
We will not.
What does
we will have disposable masks available for students should they want to use one. We will have those available for students though.
What does parent notification look like if our child is exposed to COVID? Rules for student quarantining, ?
Yeah, so what we found to be effective last year is that I've built a relationship with somebody at Lynn County Public Health that is a phone call away. And she was amazing last year whenever we had any questions or when there was, potential exposure of what our processes would be. So I will continue to use her as a resource. They have recently sent out, what does quarantine look like? Who needs to quarantine? What are the things that need to factor when making those decisions? A little bit more guidance than we had last year at this time. And we'll continue with our process. If there was a positive case in your student's classroom, most likely I would send home a letter laying out, the recommendations of Lynn County based on all of the questions that they ask me. And trust me, there's a list of questions they ask. They will not do any more contact tracing. That is a thing of the past. That's what I read today. So there will be some modifications and changes to the processes that they used last year.
When you say masks are recommended, does this mean it's up to the individual and or the parent, or is this going to be informed by the teacher or the classroom? I vaccinated my child and hope masks could be optional. It's
a great question. I mean, it really is. We will make a collective strong recommendation that everyone in the building continue to wear masks regardless of vaccination status. Well, teachers will probably echo the same thing, but it's not going to be a daily reminder, right? Like if you really want your child to wear a mask, this is a conversation that you'll need to enforce at home. I would like you to be masked all day long, no exceptions. Have a conversation with your teachers so they too know that is the expectation. I don't know if they answered all of that question. Yes, no, maybe someone. Everybody's frozen except for me. Okay. Did that answer the whole question, Tanya?
I think so. If not, that person can follow up and I will read the follow-up question. What is being done with activity fees if field trips don't happen this year?
To be determined. I think those would obviously be returned if we don't use the fees and how we, under whatever we receive them for,
Can we choose to start the school year virtually for our students?
Yes, what I will say to that though is I would like to have a working agreement. So if that's how you feel that you would like your student to start, reach out first to your teacher directly and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What can we reasonably do and expect for a virtual option? We learned a lot last year, right? Like the owls don't move, they're stationary, they stay in the classroom. We can't really be mobile outside of that space. So activities that take place outdoors, if they're doing an outdoor activity, or if they're doing an art project or something like that, it's much harder, or a PE, physical education, it's nearly impossible to make that a reality. But if your expectation is that I want my student involved in the literacy portion and the math portion at these times of day, then yes, we can definitely accommodate that. We have the technology to do so. But I would like to have you work with the teacher first, draw up a reasonable expectation, I'll review it and sign it, and then we'll put it into place and review it if it needs to be reviewed.
I think that's the last question, unless I'm missing any. Anybody else have any other questions they would like to chime in with? Thank you. Thank you for the questions.
And again, just patience through the process. Like we've done this before. We feel really comfortable with how we operated last year. We know where the pitfalls lie, but we don't know all of the variables, right? We're trying to solve an equation that we don't even know all the components of yet. So we'll make adjustments. Like that's what you get in a small school is we talk daily. Our board is very active and involved. We vet all of our processes. We work closely as a team in one building, right? We manage 3 doors. We don't have a huge campus to manage. So it makes it reasonable for us to be able to do this and make adjustments. I'm really proud of the work we did, and we proved it. So we're going to continue to do that. And just if you have any questions, do not be afraid to ask. If you have concerns, don't be afraid to call, and I'll take them all.
I think that's it.
All right, we appreciate y'all. Look for your emails. Please read your emails. It's so important. Follow our processes. Help us out. And we plan to have a really, really good school year, and you'll be proud of what we do. This is my daughter who's been sitting here putting up a sign. How many people are there? How many? So I understand what it's like to have my own child. It's a lot of work.
44.
44, right there. 44 says Dan Clark. 44. She's impressed. Okay. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you really soon.
See you next week.